So good day everyone. Let me understand you the gender-based violence, including survey, victim, and perpetrator. This presentation is explore the key concept of gender-based violence, inform the role of the survey, victim, and perpetrator from within human rights protection and prevent strategies. Gender-based violence overview. Definition: a key concept. Gender-based violence is the violence directed at someone because of their gender. So, gender-based violence is like hurting someone because of their gender. And it includes physical, emotional harm, and affect individual by communication or worldwide. So, it includes physical, emotional, and social. Like, physical is like pansing, and emotional is mo silang istorya sa dili maayo, and sexual is the yung sa gibilan sa iyang private part. Type of common-based violence. Common type of including domestic violence, social harassment, and human trafficking. Each is physical cause of significant harm and required largest intervention of support. Now we know that there are three common types of gender-based violence. It's domestic violence, sexual harassment, and human trafficking. Impact on survivors and society. Gender-based violence causes lasting physical and psychological harm to survivors and affect family, communities, and economy negativity. Social stigma, then hundreds of healing and injustice. So, about an impact, it can affect our family, community, and economic negativity. Role and human rights framework. Understanding the survivors, victim, and perpetrator. Survivors are those who experience violence and revolt resistance. Victim emphasize the sufferer while perpetrator commit the act, all within social and logical concept. Legal and human rights protections. International treaties of national law protect victims' rights by promoting justice. To understand the equation of human rights, underscore dignity and equal protection to all. And now we know there is the national law to protect the victim of gender-based violence. Prevention and support strategies. Effective prevention of gender-based violence require prioritizing awareness, collaboration, and policy reform.
Types of gender-based violence. Physical violence. Physical harm or threat of harm. Sexual violence. Sexual act or attempts to obtain sexual act through coercion. Number 3. Psychological or emotional violence. Trauma or stress caused by threat or humiliation or control. Number 4. Economics violence, control over finance or resources to exert power. So, aspect of GBV, survivor, victims, perpetrator, human rights. This is number 1, survivor or victim. Individual experience GBV emphasize resilience while victim highlights the experience. Perpetrator, the individual committing act of GBV. Human rights. GBV violates human rights. States are responsible for preventing GBV, protecting survivor, and ensuring accountability. Conclusion: gender-based violence is a significant human rights issue affecting individuals worldwide. Addressing GBV requires understanding its forms, supporting understanding its forms, survivor holding perpetrator accountable, and promoting gender equality and prevent violence.
Good day, everyone. Lesson 16: Gender-based violence, power, use of force, and consent. Objective: at the end of this chapter, you are expected to number one, identify the relationship between abuse of power and GBV, and number two, understand that the term violence in the context of GBV means using some type of force which may or may not include physical force, and number three number three, understand the meaning of informed consent and its relationship to GBV. Power. Power is directly related to choice. The more power one has, there are more choice available. The less power one has, fewer choice are available, and empowered people have fewer choice and are therefore more vulnerable to abuse. GBV involves the abuse of power, unequal power relationship are exploited or abused. Some examples of different types of power and powerful people are the following: social peer pressure, bullying, leader, teacher, and parents. Number two, economic, the perpetrator controls money or access to goods, services, money, favors, sometimes the husband or the father. And number three, political, elected leaders, discriminatory laws, president of the United States. And number four, physical strength, size of use of weapon, controlling access to security, soldier, police, robbers, and gangs. And number five, gender-based social males are usually in a more powerful position than females. And number six, age-related obtain the young and elderly people have the less power.
Use of force, violence. Force might be physical, emotional, social, or economic in nature. It may also involve coercion of pressure. Force also includes intimidation, threats, persecution, or other forms of psychological or social pressure. Violence consists of the use of physical force or other means of coercion, such as threat, inducement, or promise of a benefit to obtain something from a weaker or more vulnerable person. Informed consent. Informed consent means saying yes, agreeing to something. Informed consent means making an informed choice freely and voluntarily by persons in an equal power relationship. Acts of GBV occur without informed consent. Even if she says yes, this is not true consent because it was said under duress. The perpetrators use some kind of force to get her to say yes. Children under age 18 are deemed unable to give informed consent for acts such as female genital cutting, FGC, marriage, sexual relationship, and etc. Cycle of the violence. The cycle of violence refers to repeated acts of violence in a relationship. It starts with minor incidents and moves on to more serious levels of violence. The impact of being a victim or a witness to violence child is traumatic. It can make a child scared, unhappy, lonely, or lose self-confidence, blame themselves, lose sleep, and pick up fights with peers. Summary. Power and abuse of the same are integral components of GBV. These components also had an effect to the consent to be given by the survivor. Consent may be informed or vitiated is something perpetrated. This violence plays along a cycle of being overpowered and giving of consent to the detriment of women and their children. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Good morning everyone, my name is Jipper John Hamu from BSAD 2A. And now let's tackle about women and the law. Introduction. The 1987 Constitution The Philippines is known for its very liberal and progressive constitution that was formulated during the euphoria of people power revolution in 1986. And gender equality is a key element of this charter, and as enshrined in Article 2, Section 14 of the 1987 Constitution, the state recognizes the role of women in national building and shall ensure the fundamental equality before the law of women and men. Considering the unequal gender relations in the country, the Constitution further provided for women representation as one of the 9 marginalized sectors in the legislature through the party list system, which should cover 20% of the lower house. Finally, Article 13, Section 14 specifically mentioned that the state that shall protect working women by providing safe and helpful working conditions, taking into account their mental functions, maternal functions, and such facilities and opportunity that will enhance their welfare and enable them to realize their full potential in the service of the nation. And let's proceed to various law promoting gender equality. The legal framework provided by the 1987 Constitution resulted to various legislations promoting gender equality. These legislations include the following: Local Government Code 1991 provides for the election of sectoral representation including women in local legislative councils. Party list law provides for the creating of women-oriented or women-based parties to compete under the party list system. Women in one of the 9 sections identified in the law. Labor Code 1989 covers issues such as night work, probation, specifies that employers must provide special facilities for women, prohibition of discrimination against women in respect to terms and conditions of employment, and prohibition of discrimination by reason of marriage of a woman worker. Women in National Building Law, Republic Act 7192 or 1991 is an act promoting the integration of women as a full and equal partners of men in development and nation building. The law provides that a substantial portion of government resources be utilized to support programs and activities for women. Involvement of women in the development process and to remove gender bias of all government. Government regulation and procedures. And now for 1988 Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Law. Filipino women the rights of own land that previously reverted to sons and their male family members. Republic Act 7688 through 1994, an act giving representation of women in Social Security Commission. Anti-Sexual Harassment Law, Republic Act 7877 through 1995. An act harassment to be unlawful in the employment, education, or training environment. Republic Act 78-2022 through 1995. An act providing assistance to women engaging in micro and Cottage Business Enterprises. Republic Act 8353, 1997. An act expanding the definition of the crime of rep, ref, sorry, an act expanding the definition of the crime of reclass, reclassifying, reclassifying the same as a crime against person, and Philippine Plan for Gender Responsive Development 1995 through 2025, the National Plan for Women that consolidates the action commitment of the Philippines during the Beijing World Conference on Women. This is the overall frame that is also the point of reference for the discussions and monitoring of gender mainstreaming. Gender and Development Budget, GAD for short. Internal to the national plan, it is aimed at institutionalizing gender concerns in the mainstream development process and agenda, and not just peripheral programs and projects of the government. Concentrately, it prescribes for the allocation of 5% of the government agencies, local government units budget on gender responsive activities and projects. Framework Plan for Women, FPW for short. This is part of the Philippines Plan for Women developed to focus on three thrusts, namely promoting women's economic empowerment, advance and protect women human rights, and promote gender responsive governments. This plan activities that concentrate gender issues that will be addressed, pinpoint targets and indicators, name programs, formulates the implementation plan, and set up tools for monitoring and evaluations. Women's right to participate. Women's rights to vote was granted in 1937. The Constitution of 1935 stipulated that the right of suffrage would be extended to women only if 300,000 women voted in its favor during a national plebiscite. But not the least is the women and education. The Philippine education system is a combination of public and private institution, with the state providing free education for elementary and secondary levels. The Constitution provides that without limiting the natural rights of parents to rear their children, elementary education is compulsory for all children of school age. Article 51 Article 516 Section 2, I guess. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Judamis Dagaro reporting for the topic Violence Against Women and Children Act, Republic Act 9262. The objectives of this topic is to understand the violence against women and children, to know the types of abuse, and to know who will protect and will be protected. So what is the Violence Against Women and Children Act, or Republic Act 9262? The Violence Against Women and Children Act, Republic Act 9262, is a landmark legislation in the Philippines that aims to protect women and children from various forms of violence, particularly in intimate relationships and family settings. So what is violence? This is the definition of violence. The law defines violence against women and children as any act or series of acts that results in physical, sexual, psychological, or economic harm or suffering. In Violence Against Women and Children, Republic Act 9262, there are types of abuse. The law covers physical violence, sexual violence, psychological violence, and economic abuse. So what is physical violence? This includes acts that cause bodily harm such as hitting, slapping, and other forms of physical assault. The second types of abuse is sexual violence. This encompasses acts that are sexual in nature, including rape, sexual harassment, and forced sexual activities. Thirdly is the psychological violence. This type of violence causes mental or emotional suffering, such as intimidation, harassment, stalking, and verbal abuse. The last one is economic abuse. This involves acts that make a woman financially dependent on her abuser, including controlling financial resources, denying access to financial support, and economic exploitation. The law provides for protection orders, including barangay protection orders, temporary protection orders, and permanent protection orders, to safeguard victims from further harm. There are some penalties for abusers. Violators of the law face imprisonment, fines, and mandatory psychological counseling or psychiatric treatment. The law mandates the establishment of support services such as shelters, counseling, and legal assistance for victims of violence. So, who will be protected by this law? The law protects women and children who are victims of violence committed by their intimate partners, including husbands, ex-husbands, live-in partners, boyfriends, and girlfriends. And filing cases under RA 9262 can be filed in the regional trial court designate as a family court where the crime was committed. This could be concluded that violence against women and children, RA 9262, is a crucial tool in fight against domestic violence in the Philippines, providing a comprehensive framework for protecting victims and holding perpetrators accountable. So here's my references about this topic. Thank you for watching and listening. God bless us all.